Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I hope you are doing well. So my last video that was all on Standard Southern British and how to perfect your RP went really well and you all seemed really interested in it, which I'm so glad. So I thought I would answer some questions that came up today, specifically surrounding the difference between heightened RP and modern RP. So in this video, I'm going to lay out some of those key differences and tell you effectively how to switch in between them. So let's start with heightened RP. Here is a snippet of what I mean by heightened RP.
Founded in your unrivaled mastery of the English language. I take comfort from the fact that in losing my constitutional advisor, I gain a wise counsellor.
Mary has been denied. I'm not quite sure what you believe I am to do about it. Well, plead your case.
Your Majesty, I assure you nothing untoward has occurred.
I've never been a man that much enjoyed flirting with Daphne. Miss Bridgerton. Conversation has always been easy.
So as you can tell, it's an accent that's a pretty period accent. You hear it very, very rarely in England nowadays. It is something that is associated with the royals, the upper class, and would have been heard on the BBC and in radio stations for many, many years way back when. Whereas when I'm talking about modern RP, I'm really talking about the accent that I have growing up in a middle class environment in Surrey, which is just outside of London. It really is the accent that a lot of people hold in the south of England. It's effectively what has happened to the heightened RP accent after years and years of media influence, American influence, and just social media growing.
Him win US Open, and it was just such a great year for him because he'd come off the back of the Olympics, you know, the final of Wimbledon where he didn't get over the line to then come through at the US Open just a couple of months later was massive.
Moments, and nobody told me not to kiss on TV. It's a nightmare. I was watching it with my 17-year-old daughter, my 12-year-old son. They practically disowned us. I don't think it's it. Seriously. And there was one stage where I knew there was a kiss coming up. And I kissed and you know it's coming. Oh.
So what are these differences? The first thing, let's talk about oral posture. In the heightened RP, I want you to imagine that your face is almost like a funnel. So it's very tight and small at the front of the mouth, but like a yawn in the back of the throat. Give me a nice big yawn for me, and your soft palate is going to start raising. Now, you want to keep your soft palate nice and raised as you pout your lips. This is immediately going to help you go into more of an RP sound, as I'm imagining this sound is nice and wide at the back and quite small and precise at the front. You may just want to say a sentence such as, Tom's dog watched the yacht. Tom's dog watched the yacht, and try to really get it into that filter. Whereas in the modern RP accent, instead, like I talked about in my last video, you're going to relax everything. And my tongue is relaxed, my jaw is relaxed, my soft palate isn't lowered, it isn't raised, it's just in whatever my optimal or most relaxed position is. If it helps, you can just give everything a bit of a massage and just give Therefore, when I say a word like Tom's dog watches the yacht, Tom's dog watches the yacht, you can already hear that that Tom versus Tom is a really different resonance, all because I'm allowing the air to just go through the mouth rather than imagining it as a funnel. The second thing is there are some key vowel sound and consonant differences between the RP and heightened RP accent. One of the similarities is that they are both non-rhotic. And what I mean by non-rhoticity in both of these accents is you are only going to say the R if it is followed by a vowel sound, and you are never going to say an R if it is followed by a consonant. For example, I order you to start the car. I order you to start the car. I order you to start the car. Order followed by a consonant, therefore you are not going to pronounce it. Start, also followed by a consonant, you're not going to pronounce it. And car ends the word, therefore you're not going to pronounce it. Whereas if you have a word such as hero and carrots, both of those R's are followed by a vowel sound. Therefore, you are going to pronounce it. I order you to start the car, said the hero. I order you to start the car, said the hero. Now, if I add my RP oral posture, I order you to start the car, ordered the hero, versus modern RP, more relaxed. I order you to start the car, ordered the hero. Try that in both oral postures and see how they feel. A lot of people will often think that a heightened RP accent would roll the R's, such as
Roger Rabbit ran, or round the rocket rapid rocks.
I'm so bad at it, as you can tell. It is not something that I do in my accent or language, therefore I'm not used to it. And actually, I'd really recommend that Heightened RP very rarely does this. This was something that was seen mostly in the theatre scene for what people believed would be proper elocution and easier to understand, whereas actually it's not something that people would have used in day to day. So try to avoid any rolling R's when it comes to a sort of RP accent. It's only very specific situations where I would recommend you would use it. When it comes to the vowel sounds in both accents, effectively everything in the heightened RP example is going to be a lot lighter. Let's take, for example, the word strut. Strut. For me, in modern RP, I'm really relaxing. I'm thinking of that schwa sound. If you remember in my last video, I talked about the schwa sound being where the lips are chilling, the jaw is chilling, and the tongue is chilling. Strut. Whereas with the RP sound, I would open my jaw a little bit more, so I'm really connecting to the back of my molars, spreading open. Strut, strut, strut. For me, I say strut, strut, strut. For the heightened RP, would say strut, strut, strut. And you can hear there's a little bit of a sharper sound because of that as well, but also because of the open space and that rising of the soft palate and opening more of the jaw, that gives a lighter or more feathery sound, in my opinion. But you may hear something completely different. That same example can be said for vowel sounds like mouth, mouth, mouth. Now, I am saying that sound as a diphthong, ow, ow, ow. I'm starting with my lips quite spread, going into a W position, ow, ow. My jaw is dropping slightly, ow, mouth, mouth. Now for the heightened RP sound, it would sound something more like mouth, ow, ow. Again, I'm thinking about opening up the back of my molars, ow, mouth. And I'm not spreading my lips nearly as far, rather than me, who in modern RP would say mouth, heightened RP, mouth. And I'm more so thinking about the jaws just dropping. The same thing can be said for a word like trap. Now, it does depend on how royal or how heightened you want to be. For me, I would just say the word trap, happy, ah, ah, ah. My tongue is forward, my lips are kind of spread, my jaw is opening, ah, 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 happy, trap. But for the heightened RP, a lot of the times this turns more into an sound where my lips are spreading more and actually my jaw isn't opening quite as far. Trap, happy, trap, happy. So if you took the sentence, hand me that bag, Harry, I would say, hand me that bag, Harry. I feel my cheeks are relaxed, everything's chilling, my tongue is relaxed. Whereas in RP, hand me that bag, Harry. Hand me that bag, Harry. It's more like that sound because I'm holding a slightly more tension. And on the topic of tension, that brings me into the prosody of both accents. Now, I find it actually really hard to describe the musicality of modern RP because it is my own accent, therefore I'm so used to it. But usually I would say that we like to elide through everything quite a lot. It feels quite chesty. I'm speaking from my chest on my whole voice, and it's also one where we elongate our vowels a little bit. So rather than saying, hand me the bag, Harry, I'd probably say, oh, hand me that bag, Harry. And it's almost like I'm leaning into the vowel sounds as the important ones. Now in heightened RP, again, it depends on what character you're playing, it depends on the situation you're in, but the more royal or heightened you are, I want you to think of the sharper everything becomes. An imagery I like to use is imagining your tongue as like a ballet dancer's foot. Everything is sharp, precise, but not heavy because of that. So if I was to think about my funnel and I'm to think about my prosody, hand me the bag, Harry. Hand me the bag, Harry. I am thinking about this almost quite stiffness feeling in my mouth, but also it's still quite soft, and I'm elongating still between everything. So it's this case of think about everything like this little sharp little prick, but also one hand is almost doing this figure of 8. In fact, if you're trying to figure out any of the RP accents, a really good action I would practice is this figure of 8, and everything you say as you speak in the British accent can be done with this figure of 8 feeling. And as you probably can tell, it's like I'm going down here, then up here, then down here, and up here. And that's quite similar for modern RP. But with heightened RP, I would probably practice the figure of 8 going forwards and backwards, because sometimes I might go out to you, but then sometimes I might scurry away here. So practice with this figure of 8 feeling, because it's gonna help you just smooth everything together, whether that's in a slightly heavier, chestier resonance like modern RP versus one that's a little bit brighter, such as this. And that really sums up most of the main differences between heightened RP and modern RP. In my opinion, if you're going to pick one that is the most appropriate to learn, whether you're an actor or someone who's just wanting to learn this accent, the most current really is modern RP. You would only look at heightened RP if you are going into a period drama. Saying that, some people would argue that it's a lot easier to transition into a modern RP when you have heightened RP down and you have the extremities of it. I actually see them as two completely different oral postures, as we talked about. One is in such a different place to the other, with the soft palate and the lips as well. So start with just modern RP, relaxing, see what it's like to transition, and just keep playing. Remember, the most important part with learning an accent is growing the physical sensitivity of what your muscles are doing. And if you did want more information on the standard modern RP accent in particular, don't forget that I still have my PDFs out, and they will continue to be out. So you can go to the link in my bio, and I think they're still on sale, so maybe you can catch that then, which would be lush. I'd also love to hear about what you want next, so please keep leaving comments below about what accent you would like. And don't forget that I still have a 30-minute free consultation link in the link in bio, and all of my social media will also be down there, so you can grab as much free content as you possibly can. Thank you again, team. I hope it's been useful, and I will see you next week. Bye.